Welcome to the pre-show, folks. That's all this is. Nothing more, nothing less. Pre-show time. If you are new here, the actual show starts at 4 minutes and 25 seconds past the top of the hour. As usual. So happy Monday, everyone. Since we're talking about old age today, I wore my old man glasses. Bifocals, So, in about 10 seconds, I got to start up the link to the radio station, and then we'll get going. Boy, it's bright in here today. I could turn off that light, but then it gets all wonky in here. So, hope everyone had a good weekend. Here we go. I'm going to turn on the link to the radio station. Yep, it's on because I'm getting feedback. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. I got to bring that down to that level. And we got about, 3 minutes left before we go live on the radio station. Hey, Kenny LaFarve. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. And I don't see anyone in chat, says Elderberry. I see you and I see Kenny so far. There's two of you in there, and I'm in there technically. So, how's it going, Elderberry? It's Monday. What do you expect? It says right here there's 6 or 7 or 8 of you in there in the chat already. I just don't see. People have to say hi before they show up. So, don't get super glue on your fingers. I thought you knew that. Do you remember when I super glued my hands? Yeah, I do remember. So, Master Finn, good to see you. Hey, Arlene. Good to see you. Glad you made it in. All right, guys. Pushing on about a minute and a half before we go live on the radio station. I'm going to take those off. I only need those when I read really close stuff or I'm reading the chat room. I can kind of see it, but just put chickens up. I'm good now. All right. Keep them from the wolves, the raccoons, and the coyotes. That's what we always had problems with. No, not so much wolves, but we had coyotes and raccoons that thought our chicken coop was the raccoon and coyote snack shack. So, Matt, is that what you said there, Elderberry? All right, we're getting close. We're getting close. We got a minute, less than a minute. We go live. So I hope you're all doing well. We'll see what kind of reaction we get to this topic tonight. Because not everybody that listens to this show is getting old, but a lot of us are getting older. I'm not elderly by any means, but I'm getting older. So, see what everybody thinks. What kind of participation we get in tonight's chat. My chair's lower today. I don't know if you can tell. You look at that sword over there in the top. You can tell. It's whether the handle's showing or just the basket. So, if my chair were higher, I'd be doing that. All right, we're going to go dark because we're going to go live. Stand by for a few seconds.
Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with two T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad, so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome. I hope you have a happy Monday going on, and that we can help bring it to a nice, rounded, tying it in a knot today. That was a weird way to say that, but you get what I mean. Welcome to my show. I'm Scotty Roberts. This is my show, the Intrepid radio program. I'm your host, as always, and welcome. You're listening via Odyssey Radio. That's ODYSY radio.com, or you're watching in one of four ways. You've got three virtual, that's not the word I'm looking for either. Free hello, and they all died. I got four simulcasts, places where you can watch this in simulcast. I don't know where virtual came out of that. Probably thinking visual. And three of them over on my Facebook. My Facebook page, Odyssey Facebook page, Intrepid Radio Facebook page, and one of them, of course, over on my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Scotty Roberts. And while you're there, over at the YouTube channel, come on over. Like the broadcast, and at the same time, subscribe to the broadcast. And if you are really sold on this show, go ahead and click on the join button, and you'll see three different ways you can join the channel and help keep it going. So, hey to everybody over there in the chat room. Some of you I said hello to during the pre-show. Daniel Craig, welcome. David Otness. Glad you made it in as well. If anybody's there that I haven't had a chance to say hello to, welcome. And I hope this show title doesn't turn some people off, because you're going to find a variation of people when we're talking about growing older. Now, I'm definitely growing older, but I'm not elderly yet. I guess I look at elderly as being not just 61, but as you get advanced in years. And right now, I'm pretty much, even though I'm older, it's like I always say jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, I can do everything I did when I was 26 years old. It just hurts more now. So I'm getting older. Things affect me differently. My body reacts to things differently. All of that stuff. Let's talk about that a little bit tonight, because there are ways to grow older, not just gracefully, but healthily. Is that a word? Is that a way to say that? Healthily? And so we're going to look into that just a little bit and just talk about it. And if you're young, you don't have to worry about being old. But apparently, all the things that you don't think of doing when you're young, when we were tuned out of being old, are the things that come to roost as you get older. It's like, man, I sure wish I had this sounds trite and small, but I wish I'd gotten that six pack when I was 30 instead of wishing I had one when I was 61. Things like that. It's the preparing. I wish I had eaten healthier. I wish I hadn't done this and this and this to my body because now my liver's falling apart, or my heart is having problems, or my lungs are having problems, or whatever it might be. So they're all the different things, or my joints. Like right now, I look at, I've got one hip that's been replaced already 5 years ago. What was I, 56 years old? I had a hip replaced. I've got the other one they said needed to be done at the same time. And I said, let's just hold off on that. Let's see how it does. So things like that. I know I have friends my age who are getting their knees all replaced with artificial knees. I know 3 people right now that have had that done. And it's like I used to say jokingly, I still say jokingly, all my old friends and I, we used to get together 20 and 30 years ago and talk about chicks and cars and cash and all the fun adventures and things. Today, we all get together and we talk about which organ of yours have they taken this time? Or what joint are you having artificially replaced? Things like that. So these are all the things that happen to us as we grow older. I've got a child standing in the wings, brushing her face with a toothbrush. So I'm assuming while I'm on national radio,
I got super glue on my face.
I'm so sorry. I told you, be careful with the super glue. It doesn't come off very well. There's stuff you can get that off with, but I can't do it for you right now. That's not going to do anything except make your skin raw. So why don't you go up and find like nail polish remover, get a little cotton swab, and use a little bit of that. Anybody, what's a good way to get super glue? Uncle Dave should know. What's a good way to get super glue off your skin? So I handed that to her about 20 minutes ago and said, be very careful with this. It's brand new. Should have cut it open and do all that because she had to super glue something. And now she's got super glue on her fingers, on her face, and all of that. It's all over you. Well, anybody know what's the good stuff? Uncle Dave should know. He'll let us know. He works with all this stuff all the time. Uncle Dave says, I'm 25 forever. I'm good at being 25. Age is a state of mind, and I'm not giving into that old stuff. See, I disagree with you right away. Age isn't a state of mind. Age is chronology. Age is linear. We have nothing to do. Our state of mind has nothing to do with how our bodies age naturally. So we still grow old. We can have the best attitude. I still think I'm 26 in my head. I'm still older than you, Dave. I think I'm 26 while you think you're 25. But you know what? We'll still grow old. We'll still grow old and die. And that's a fact. Fingernail polish remover, Steve Clark says. That's who I just told her to try that. Yeah, elderberry, peeing too much. That's a good sign of it. Uncle Dave says alcohol. You're talking rubbing alcohol, right? I don't have to use my scotch on her face or anything, do I? Yeah. Oh, yeah, she says. Oh, yeah. Yeah, scotch would probably take it off. Stretching and hydration, says Scott Allen. And avoidance. What was that? Avoidance of sugar are the secrets of a healthy body. Yeah, things we didn't really know that much about or care that much about 30 years ago. If I'd had the mentality that I do now, I'd be exercising every day. I just saw somebody talking about, it's not going to the gym and busting out and working out 2 hours to 8 hours a day to try to get that fitness level. It's the steady 15, 20 minutes a day of doing the thing that gets you into shape, that helps burn those things off. Now, like me, I'm diabetic. So right now, I was at the doctor the other day, and she was testing all my blood levels and all of that. And my A1C it's a little bit up. But it was really up, and I brought it way down. Then it went a little up. And I'm at 10 points right now, 9 points. It should be. When I first got diabetes, they told you it had to be under 9. Then it went to under 8. Then it went to under 7. Now they're saying 5.65 is where they want you to be with your A1C. So according to that level, I'm almost double what I should be. That's the deep ingrained. Even if your blood sugar is 110. I have lows sometimes that are 47. Those are temporary. You feel those and you put sugar in your system and so on. Scotch, but maybe vodka. I don't have any vodka in the house, Uncle Dave. Oh, you got it off? Good. What'd you use? Nail polish remover. There it was. Thank you, Steve Clark. So, Sarah saying no. 6.5 or lower is non-diabetic. There you go. My tests came back on the doctor's office. I looked up my tests. It said you're at something like 9.4, and it said I should be 5.65 or something like that. And I'm like, when did it drop down to 5 something? So, yeah, it's crazy on A1C. I've had times where I ran out of meds, out of shots. You got to take the shot in the stomach every day, or in the fat. I should say it's not in my stomach; it's in your fat roll. And I ran out for about 2 weeks. I was traveling and so on. I tried to take it easy. I came back. My A1C went up to almost 12, but then within a month I was back down to 10. Then 9.4, and then 10 again, now 9.4 again, and so on. Anyway, all of that is an indicator of things that, like Scott Allen said, stay in shape. You got to watch what you eat. You got to watch your sugar levels. What else did you say, Scott? There were a couple of things you brought up: stretching and hydration and avoidance of sugar. Somebody else told me lotions. Make sure lotions. So, that's maybe for aesthetic more than anything. It keeps your skin in shape. I can get you down below 5 without meds. Just with diet changes, you will actually like. Very simple. Dave, I can do that myself. I already know what that stuff is. I've had diabetes since 2003 was when they diagnosed it. So a good almost 20 years. I've been taking shots most of that time. I had a time where, Dave, you remember, just before I met Rainey, I spent the summer biking. I'd get up every day and I'd bike 6 miles a day. That was it. Just a big square I laid out in South Minneapolis, Bloomington area. And I biked 6 miles a day, and I was just determined. I said, I'm gonna get a little healthier. And I stopped eating junk food, stopped eating fast food. I would make chicken and veggies for Abby, Brennan, Sam, and me. That's what I would cook, that kind of stuff. I would eat rice cakes and raw honey. That was my big treat. And so I dropped down so low on my A1C, my doc said, if I didn't know you had diabetes, I wouldn't know you had it. So, yeah, there are things that we can do, not to be dismissive of what you're saying, Dave. I'm sure you could. I could do that for somebody else, too. Sometimes it's just doing it for ourselves that we don't do it. And like I had a donut today. Should I have had a donut today? No. But why do you have to deny yourself those? Do you deny yourself those things, or do you find ways to do workarounds so I can have a donut once in a while? So it's that kind of stuff. My problem is I eat too many carbs. I like carbs, and carbs will convert to sugar in your system. It's like running without a bear chasing you. Yeah, really. Who wants to do that? Why should I run? There's no bear chasing me. So you have to compensate appropriately. Exactly, Sarah. That's exactly it. But all of these things, yeah, and Grumpy Stack is here. He's got some good stuff going on. And Grumpy, you and I have to talk in the future here, very near future. Get some things figured out. But yeah, there are good ways to eat. All of this just spun off of my saying there are things that we could be doing when we're younger that help when we are older, not age us so rapidly, not get sick and things while we're aging. What's one of the earmarks of aging? We all say, well, our hair turns white or falls out or thins out, and we gain weight, and our joints start falling apart on us, and our system starts shutting down on that slow trek toward death. So if you're young, it's good to think about these things. If you're not young, if you're getting older like me, like I said, this is where I started. Not elderly, but by any means. But I'm getting older. I've got friends, a lot of friends my age. I've got some that are very healthy, and I've got some that aren't healthy at all. And it all depends on how we've treated our bodies and so on. But is aging a disease, or is it a natural process? That's kind of that mystery, that stigma. And Dreams of Immortality feel this debate that just won't die. Philosophers, as I put into the opening of the show, into the write-up on the show tonight, philosophers have argued for millennia whether aging is a natural process. Is that just something that happens to us all? Death comes to us all. And so says Benjamin Franklin, only two sure things in life, death and taxes. Does death always have to be because we grow old? Or is, well, obviously it's got to be of something. Is it because we grow old, or is it because we get hit by a bus, or we get sick and die? Wouldn't the ideal be we all live the most natural lifespan we can, the healthiest way, and we all die in our sleep at night? Because, hey, time's coming. I'm getting old. Body just doesn't last forever. So for millennia, that's been this debate. Is it a natural process, or is it a disease that can be cured? Can we cure old age? Can we cure aging? And the debate gaining fresh vigor in recent years with advances in understanding disease causes. Even while science can't explain exactly why or how we age, it's full of genuine scientific disagreement. And it's laced with idealistic dreams of immortality, loaded with all kinds of ethical concerns. But have you noticed, even nowadays, why do they say that our lifespans have expanded? Now in 2022, we live longer as humans than we used to. How long ago was it where the average lifespan of even Americans was 50 to 60 to 70 years old at the most? And now you got people that live long past that. Sarah says the only way to cure aging is to stop change, which is impossible. And that's right. We age just like everything else ages around us. So biological aging is not just a source or a source, it's the source of many debilitating and deadly diseases. And that's the argument that's put forward by the Healthy Life Extension Society, that's led by Steve Butterjuice. He's a postgraduate. What a name. Bulterjuice. Bulteries. I think it's pronounced IJS at the end. Bulteries. There you go. Whatever. Butterjuice was better. He's a postgraduate researcher who studies the biology of aging at the University of Ghent in Belgium. Now, he said the only way to prevent these illnesses linked to aging is to attack the principal cause, aging itself. And that's what their group contends anyway. And it's time to start working towards solutions to this universal human tragedy. The human tragedy? What is the universal human tragedy? We all die. You know what comes to mind? As usual, a Star Trek scenario comes into mind. Remember, those of you who are into Star Trek, the movie Star Trek 3, it was The Search for Spock. After Spock died in the Wrath of Khan, they went on with 3. And it was Spock's father who came to Kirk and assumed that Spock had passed on his katra to Kirk through a mind meld. And Kirk said, and he mind melded with Kirk, and he says, it's not there. And Kirk says, he couldn't touch me. We were separated. So he couldn't mind meld with me. And to pass on all that he was, all the memories and so on into somebody else. And so Sarek sat back, his father, Spock's father, and said, and the music, of course, is very melancholy. And he says, then all that he was is lost. And that's the tragedy, I think, of death, is that all that we are gets lost, except what we pass on. Now we can get very philosophical about this and say there are things that we can pass on to our offspring, to people around us, the things we share. I am sometimes at 61 years old in the books that I've been doing in the last 10 to 15 years. mostly 10 years, the last years, or when I've done most of the publishing of my work, I've thought there are so many things I want to get down that I want to have for posterity in the back of my mind. When I did the book on, when I did Tam O'Hare, when I did The Sword and the Clay, and the different things I write, in the back of my mind is, this is the eternal life for me, at least in the physical plane. Maybe not spiritually, but in the physical plane. I thought, and there's so many other things I want to do, that to my offspring, to my friends that are left behind, to the ages, I'd like to say there are things I would like to leave behind that are a legacy of who I am. But does that really matter? On a spiritual realm, maybe we'll talk about that another time, but in the spiritual realm, it might be a very different thing. So the tragedy, I think sometimes, is that we allow ourselves to die younger than we should, and we don't leave anything behind of ourselves. All is lost. And all people have are old black and white photos, or, it's like I'm sitting here and I'm just looking at this. I got this photo of my wife that's just sitting right here on my desk. And I love this picture. What if my wife died next week? There'd be a lot of things to remember her by. She's left a lot instilled in our kids and in me. And I got pictures. But what if that's all you have is a picture of something? That's all they've left behind from me. So we have all that stuff that goes on. In the meantime, Bones is in psychiatric care from the meld. That's it, Elderberry. Exactly. He got the meld, but he wanted a psychiatric care for it, or he was struggling with stuff. I like that when Kirk comes to him and he goes, "How many fingers am I holding up?" And Bones says, "That's not very goddamn funny." Oops, I said the GD word. I can't say that on the radio station. Sorry. For anybody who heard that and took offense, sorry. I don't say that very often. Daniel Craig says you could go the route they did in Caprica. Use someone's social media footprint to rebuild them. There's that. But would that, let's say I did that, would that really be me? No, it would be a new me. It's not me anymore. You go, you're gone. So, and what do you do with that? The Bible says it's appointed unto men once to die. And after that, the judgment. Oh, what's that all about? Many of us know what that's about, but do we really know what that's all about? Again, another topic for another time. So back to, is aging a disease? Aging's a natural part of life for those who are lucky enough to live a long time. That's what Sharona Hoffman, a professor of law and bioethics at Case Western Reserve University. And she's the author of the book, Aging with a Plan, How a Little Thought Today Can Vastly Improve Your Tomorrow. Aging shouldn't be considered a disease in and of itself. The natural, hey, everybody, did everybody forget when I'm broadcasting, my microphone picks you all up? I need you all to treat this with the respect I've asked you to treat it for 2 years. That means talk quietly around my microphone. Sorry, folks. An official familial interlude there. Not a nice one, but one nonetheless. So the National Institute on Aging concurs in what serves as an official scientific stance on the issue, a nuanced view that emphasizes the complex two-way relationship between aging and illness. They said aging is not in and of itself a disease. I think I've never considered it a disease. I just considered it part of the natural course of the universe. Maybe it's entropy. Everything declines. It starts, and the moment it starts, it's on its decline to death. However, aging is a major risk factor for developing with many major chronic diseases. Many diseases appear to accelerate the aging process, which is manifested as declines in functionality and reduced quality of life start to take place for us. Hi, Rainey. There's no decline in that. Sorry, folks. That's a better familial interlude that you can't be part of. What's that? Your butt does like to be naked, and I like your butt to be naked. Thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for stepping right in front of my desk and sharing.
I'll share that on fans only.
There you go. Sorry, folks, you can only hear that. But woe is the life I lead.
I lost my pants.
You lost your pants.
I lost my shorts.
You lost your shorts. I'm so sorry. Looks good on you. There you go. That's right, Dave Potter. So what's disease anyway, when we talk about it? Can old age really be disease? I don't think so. It can bring on disease if we haven't prepped ourselves for it. You talking to me?
He got a new gel gun and it
Oh,
like how we get hit with it.
yeah, I'm sure. Especially, well, now the shirt goes off. There you go. Well, that's my... Hold on, folks. This could be a commercial break.
Dun, 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 dun.
Thank you, wife. Thank you, wife.
Do not shoot your mother.
Oh, don't shoot your mom with your gun, your toy gun. Okay. Now, anyway, we're familiar interruptions all blown to hell on this show. So, wish you could be here, but it's probably good that you're not. So,
Oh, shot me in the butt.
oh,
No, you
I see that. Oh, he shot you
shot
in
me
the
right
butt.
there. See my circle?
You had a circle right there, too. Here, come and say hi now that you're here. So, Rainey is here now. She's now dressed. So,
Ow.
hey, everybody. Hey, Flynn, stop shooting that at her. She said you left a circular mark on her.
Ellie's got one.
Oh,
too.
okay. Well, good.
I said shoot me in the butt.
Well, that's good.
Got one there. He's got one there and there.
Flynn got a new... Here, show me the gun. Let me show that off.
Let's see. I'm just looking at the back.
You got a new gun.
Yeah,
Oh,
you did. I was trying.
how's this work? Oh. Oh!
Dad!
Oh, there, I broke it now. Now I broke it. There you go. Wow, those are wet.
Yeah.
Oh, ow.
There's beans down there.
Oh,
That's
well,
the good kind. Here,
okay.
I saved you 3.
There, we've fallen apart. Totally. Hello, Flynn, says Uncle Dave.
Let's see it.
All right. I'm going to get back to the show here. So why don't you go off with mom and brother and shoot each other? I'm sorry that didn't work. What do you do to make it shoot?
Don't shoot in the eyes, though, because you're supposed to have eye protection on to shoot it.
There you go. All right.
It.
All right. Don't shoot me. Ow. Get out of here. Ow. Ow. That's like small paintballs. Like that big. Here, look at this. See what's in there?
I'm staying close so I don't get shot.
They're like small paintballs in there.
They're Orbeez, but they're harder
So-
than Orbeez. Don't shoot in the eyes. Close your eyes, please. Go put on my sunglasses.
Dance, mister. Run, run.
Oh, Ellie's crying.
Oh, did you get hit in the butt? Why don't you go? Run, Mom. Oh, here, take this. Take this away. I'm an irresponsible gun user. Oh, come here. Yeah, the radio show's falling apart, guys.
Dad, hurry.
Come here. Don't watch it. You watch it. Oh, now you're not crying.
Go.
Ow! Ow!
Dad, watch this moment.
Oh, nice. Give me that. All right. Amanda Berry. Oh my God, Scotty, I tried to buy one from an American toy company paintball. I got in trouble for importing illegal weapons. Seriously? So what do you had to do to make that go automatic? Just hold the trigger down? Oh!
You gave Ellie a red mark.
Here, I'm going to give this back. Oh, you were crying? Then you were laughing when you got to shoot me. Now you're crying again because you know it's red. Oh, look at that. Oh! Come here. Come here. I'm sorry I gave you a red mark. Everybody's got a red mark now. What are you doing over there?
Daddy again.
Send,
Okay.
send Walmart and Target gift cards so we can buy them to shoot Scotty more often.
Yeah. On the radio. Okay, everybody get out of here now. Get. You interrupted my show. Hey, Ro, come here. There you go. Not in the face, guys. Not in the face. No, we aren't allowed to get bullets either now without a license. Real bullets or the paintball bullets? There you go. Tick, 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 you hear in the background. Poor Ellery. Yeah. She's laughing now, Uncle Dave. She's back to laughing. All depends on if you're looking at the... You know, she's crying, and then she's laughing when she gets to shoot you.
Show them what you did to me.
How do you know that's the one I hit you with?
Because
Okay.
it hurt.
Show him then. Show him. All right. There it is. There's a freckle right in the middle of it too. Okay, get down. All right. Well, the free for all show. So how you doing, Mom?
I'm bleeding.
You're bleeding.
Yeah.
Ellie's bleeding.
You're not
No, you're
bleeding. You're
not.
just welted.
All right. You just got welts. Shut up. Cry to me when you bleed. I don't care about
Give me my
welts.
hamster. Don't shoot the dog.
Okay, out. Out.
Mom, tell him to stop.
Out.
Don't shoot the
I'm
dog.
not gonna shoot.
Don't shoot my dog. She's mine.
This is what happens when you get elderly, by the way. Where'd Mom go? Oh. Hi.
Flynn's trying to kill the dog.
There she is. Off the screen. Okay. Everybody now clear here. Let me try to finish this. Let me try it. I got 15 minutes left. Almost 20. So, okay, folks. Well, I hope that was good radio. Mayday, mayday, says Amanda Berry. Freckless Rick. Okay, out of here, please. Bye. Bye, child. See ya that way.
Where's
Over in your bedroom.
Mom? No.
Okay. All right. Real men fight with swords. That's right, Dave. Yeah. See, right there. Right back there, folks. So, okay. Let's clear the air here. Everybody go make noise somewhere else. Go make noise somewhere else. And let's continue. I hope I haven't lost too many of you in that free-for-all frivolity going on. What did Daniel Craig say back here? This had the effect of making me avoid doctors, which I haven't seen in 6+ years, and avoiding all medications whatsoever. Probably not the healthiest route, and I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. Well, I just hope that's still working for you in 20 years. So, same with me, you know. Sometimes if I don't want to know what's going on that's bad, I just don't go to the doctor. And you know, I suppose we need to. Energy had entered the room, said Amanda Berry. Yeah. Are you saying I have no energy without them running around shooting guns? Oh, I guess that's what it is, huh? All right. So let's see if we can move on from familial interlude back into, I don't know. See if we can get back to the topic a little bit. So, what is disease? We kind of left off with that. If we're talking about aging, is aging a disease or is aging a natural process? That's the big question. So among the many loose ends that's driving the debate is the startling fact that there is no universal formal medical description for the word disease. Did you know that? The World Health Organization, which many of us have come to distrust over the last 2 years, 3 years, defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So I'd have to ask you, just the first thought that comes to my mind, are all of those things would affect our growing old gracefully, our growing old healthily. Disease is sometimes defined, if at all, only as being the opposite of health, or it's defined rather succinctly yet imprecisely as illness or sickness characterized by specific signs and symptoms. So Scientists sometimes refer to disease simply as this unwanted or harmful deviation from the norm, be it physical or psychological or social or whatever else it is. So meanwhile, the list of maladies that are considered diseases is a fluid, long list, illustrating ongoing challenges to conventional medical wisdom. Osteoporosis, which is something that generally hits you as you get a little older, didn't used to be on the list, but now it is. Homosexuality used to be on the list of diseases, and now it's not. So whether obesity should be considered disease is in the midst of its own hot debate. Are you obese because you have a disease? Or are you obese because you eat too much fucking food? You know what? I could get real skinny real quick, and I could get really fat really quick. I'll bet you Doug would know this because of all the health work he's been doing with his own weight loss, which is impressive, and his own health eating and all of the healthy lifestyle. You know, and most of us know, if I put my mind to it, in a week, I could put on 20 pounds. You know, you could. Why? Because I could become obese very quickly. I could, but it takes a lot longer to knock that off, especially when it's been on you for a long time. I think it's more to do with the way we've messed around with our food chain, or they've messed with our food chain, says Uncle Dave. Yeah, and that's true. Sarah Yusuf says obesity affects many systems of the body. It does. And you look at, you watch a show like My 600-Pound Life. Is that what it's called? Is it My 600-Pound Life? You look at some of the people on that show and the way they eat prior to going through any program at all. And the way they eat is downright obscene, not just obese. It's how can you sit and eat 2 pizzas in one setting and a bucket of 12-piece Kentucky Fried Chicken and then 2 sandwiches and a 6-pack of Coke for lunch and then be hungry for dinner in 2 hours. So the way we eat, is something I've always seen as being the thing that makes us obese. Now, is there a psychological issue that can go along with that and help that along? Sure, there is. Obesity can be many things, says Sarah. I'm sorry, Amanda in Australia. Glandular. Yeah, it can be that too. We already have crickets being added to certain goodies. You know, I've got a theory about the whole insect thing now starting to be so vogue. I think we're seeing a lot of defunding of farms, of subsidizing farms. We see a lot of the whole climate change thing tying into the climate changing into how we produce food and so on. And so now we're seeing the whole bug thing coming. Oh, bug flour, cricket flour, cockroach milk, all of this stuff. It's like BS. Somebody's trying to foist something on us, and pretty soon we're going to find out that all that stuff kills you about 3-4 years down the road. Let's see. If you know this mukbang eater, you know the anger that goes with watching them indulge in so much. Yeah, there is an anger with it. Asia survives on insect. Good for Asia. Let them have the insects. We'll ship all ours over there if they'd like them. So whatever. The grocery food is the devil. Prepare man-made frozen. Yeah. Processed food is not good for any of us. Though we still have it around this house. We've got processed food for those days where we're like, I don't fucking feel like cooking. And so we have the kids here. We're going to make this thing. Make some mac and cheese. Worst food on the planet. But it's there. And so let's get back to my daughter's trying to interrupt and I'm not letting her. So because she really doesn't need to. So getting back to aging being a disease. No! I've got radio for 52 minutes a night. You don't need me this 52 minutes.
Yeah, I do.
So, anyway, what are you eating?
These are drinks off TikTok. When you bite into them, they're supposed to sound like apples.
Just go eat an apple.
No,
We got apples upstairs.
apples are gross.
Okay, get out of here. All right, we've had enough of this tonight. Enough of this tomfoolery. Out. Out, I say. Out, damned spot. Out, I say. What's the reference on that? Anybody know that? Out, damned spot. Out, I say. No, I'm not. I'm doing radio. For Pete's sake. All right. Unleash Jeremy Hansen. Welcome, brother. My doctor says no more bacon. I said, go to hell. It's like the cartoon I saw. It's got a pig sitting there, and he's eating bacon. It's dropping out of his mouth, and he goes, bacon is what? Bacon, man. Bacon is the life. The bacon is the life. So, to misquote Schindler's List, the bacon is the life. So, the Scottish play. That's it, Uncle Dave. I knew you'd know. So, out, damned spot out, I say. That's that was Mrs. King in that. So, who murdered and had blood on her hands, and she couldn't wash the blood out. What if there isn't grocery food? Well, what if there isn't? I think a lot of people starve to death because they wouldn't know what to do. This is part of the reason Rainey and I, in the getting eventually to the place we want to have some acres so we can plant our own food. Not that we would subsist only on our own food. Raise a couple of cows, raise some sheep, raise some tomatoes, and things like that. Now, you can't live on tomatoes and cows alone, but you get what I mean. So there's things you can do. Especially, what happens if the grid goes down? What happened a couple of weeks ago when my daughter and I went to look for ice cream and the whole ice cream section was shut off and there was no ice cream in the grocery store in our town? Practically molted after that, but because there was no ice cream. Imagine if that was everything. So that's there. Abs are made in the kitchen. That's very true. Well, at least lower abs. So, yeah, that's my thing. It's 55 plus years of eating badly, punctuated by times of eating well. Why do I have that pocket of fat down below my belly button? It's because I've eaten badly for 50 years. And why do I have diabetes? It ain't because it just came out of nowhere. Diabetes comes from eating poorly, poor choices. So now I'm fighting it. And you know what? I could get rid of the diabetes altogether if I did certain things. And I know that. It's just doing them. So back to aging being a disease. The case for characterizing biological aging as a disease argues, in part, that the physical decline that typically comes with the chronological aging is harmful and unwanted, just like a disease, and there are specific signs and symptoms attributable to aging. This is what Butterjuice and his colleagues wrote in 2015. And this line of thinking has spurred some change. In 2018, the World Health Organization added to its disease classification system the notion of aging-related diseases, defined as those caused by biological processes which permanently lead to the loss of organisms' adaptation and progress in older ages. So examples include cataracts. I got a cataract coming in my eye already, growing in this eye. I found out. I blink sometimes, and I can see way off on the edge of my eyesight, my peripheral, like the edge of a corona. It flashes white real quick. I can do it right now. There it is. But I still see the same out of this eye. But I thought, what's causing that? And I went to the eye doctor and had him look at it, and they said, well, you're getting cataracts already. And I said, what? And they said, the other eye's okay. This one, you're starting to form one. You won't have to worry about it for quite a while, but it's in there. It's growing. So what the hell is that? Jeremy Hansen says it's because we bust our ass to eat decently in the second half of our life. Yeah, that's what we do. Because the first half, we're like beer and pizza, baby. And we do a lot of stuff in the first half of our life that's foolish. And if we were smart as kids, that's trying to impose, or I was going to say inflict. That's not the word I'm looking for. To share the knowledge of how to live a longer life with somebody in their 20s, their teens, their 20s, their 30s is almost fruitless. There are some people that get it and they go, if I do this now, I might be here 90 years from now. There are others that are, because they don't do it when they're young, they won't be here 90 years from now. I say I'm going to live to be 104. That's my prediction. Now, I've got a lot of things going against that 104 age bracket, age goal. You know, I got a lot of things that say 78 to 83 is when I'm out. But I got to fight against those now because I didn't do it when I was younger. And how much of what I did to my body created the diabetes, created the heart disease, stuff like that I'm constantly fighting now. So far, the heart's been good, knock on wood, since that last procedure. And they found out they put in a stent that was too small when they did the heart surgery. And he fixed it, I think. We'll see how long that lasts, he says. It's like thinking about saving for retirement in your 30s. Yeah. Think about saving for your retirement in your 30s. Because when you're 58 and 59, starting to save for your retirement doesn't do much for you. Get your life insurance policy before you're 40 and keep it growing. Right now, I'm uninsurable for life. And I had a life insurance policy when I was young, and I let it slide and it lapsed when I was in my 20s sometime. I got that through Prudential. And I don't have a life insurance policy now. If I kick tomorrow, there's no life insurance for my wife and my family. It's whatever I have goes to them. Now, I've been looking at signing up for term life. So I can get term, but it's super expensive at 61 years old with heart disease. Trust me. And diabetes. So all of these things are things we could have done. Same with Dave, Uncle Dave. We were starving artists that never had the money to put into our life insurance policies for many years. And it was like, so we just didn't do it. I'm going to live. Yeah, I'm not old. I'll worry about that a little later. And then the little later comes and you're old suddenly. I believe everything in moderation in order to stay healthy. There it is, Steve. But we don't think of that when we're 25 and 30. We think about it when we're 50 and 55. Oh, I got to start being moderate. So there it is. I just talked to an old friend I haven't talked to in 12 years. For some reason, a message of his popped up in my phone from 12 years ago that said, hey, call me back. So I called him. I haven't talked to him in years. And Uncle Dave, you know who this is. It was out of breath when I had to cough. You know who this is. It was John Peterson, who was one of my partners in Three Celts and Company. So I called him up out of the blue. The number was the same. I was hoping it was the same. I called him up and I said, hey, I'm calling you back. What'd you need? And he goes, he knew who I was. So it was kind of funny, but that's what we do. We put things off. Daniel Craig said, when my father passed, he left me a little bit. He was never practical with money, so to honor him, I blew it on a hearse. Boom! There you go, in honor of Dad. So when my mother passed, she left me quite a bit. I took the entire sum to an investment firm who'll be growing my money to give to my children when I pass. There you go. And hopefully you'll have some of that. You can do some more hearse buying and seashore cottage buying and stuff like that. And enjoy. I want to be able to enjoy my old age when it comes. Like I say, I'm not elderly yet. I'm older, but I'm not elderly. I'm not ready to retire. I just got a thing in the mail that was like one of these official letters from the Social Security telling me, hey, if I signed up to get my Social Security now, right now, today, I could make something like $735 a month. I'm like, whoa, $735 a month without question? Well, that's like half of the rent on my townhome. I couldn't do that. That would be stupid for me to do that. But 3 years down the line, 3.5 years when I'm 65, guess what? That'll bump up to like $1,200 a month. Ooh, would it be worth never making an income again or working again? I could never illustrate a book again and earn money for it. I could never write a book and earn money for it. I could never do graphics anymore or design and earn money for it. Would that be worth it? I don't know. Hey, look at the time. We got to get out of here in 25 seconds for the radio audience. Stay put, everybody, for the captain's cabin. And we'll get into some more talk about this. As for now, live long and prosper, radio audience. See you in a bit. Boom.
Join us every weeknight at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. The Intrepid Radio Program, a Scotty Roberts Productions broadcast.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad so he can take me to Disneyland.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Captain's Cabin. Good to have you staying on over overtime. This is the after show. For those of you who don't know, who haven't been here before, we are off air over at Odyssey Radio, and we are now doing our off-air after show, the Captain's Cabin, dubbed so by my faithful listeners. So thank you. I see you over there. Stop waving your hand, you old fart. So we got Dave Potter is sitting over in the wings. I haven't brought him in yet, but I will as soon as I'm damn good and ready. Let me introduce the Captain's Cabin. Welcome to the Captain's Cabin. Okay, now I'm going to bring in Dave. Hey, Dave. How you doing?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
I can't
Maybe
hear
I have
you.
the volume turned down on this. Nope, the volume's up. Can you hear me?
Volume's up. Mike's ported. Everything's going on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, weird. I can hear you through my tablet. I can't hear you through my phone like normal.
Oh, that's weird.
Can you hear me?
Well, there we go. We hear you fine.
Okay. Weird. I can hear you through my tablet. I
Barbie
can't
D,
hear you
good
through
to
my
see
phone
you.
like normal.
You take care
Yeah.
too.
So I'll work off the audio from the tablet. Okay. Weird. I can hear you through my
Steve Clark, that's actually that picture I used in the opener. That's a science fiction
which has a huge lag time.
spaceship. Here, let me show you that again, just for a second. You can see it, Steve. Look at this. Here we go.
Which
Watch
has a
this
huge
ship.
lag time.
There it is, Steve. You see that? It's out in space. It's outer space, it is. By thunder. Now that's not. That's the interior. That's inner space. Yeah, I love that too. Dave should too. It's in his blood. Okay, boom. We'll just end that there because.
And now my audio works.
All right, your audio works. Fantastic.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
Still think you need a jaunty hat. I have a jaunty hat. I have a couple of jaunty hats. Here's one jaunty hat. Oh wait, I got a couple of jaunty hats. There, let's just get them all, huh? How about that?
Scotty, I'm going to leave and come back because something's not right with the connection in StreamYard.
What's not right? What's not working for you? Oh, Dave had to leave. Okay. Here you go, Sarah. Here's a jaunty hat for you. Let's see. It's been hanging. I haven't worn this for a long time. Oh, yeah. There you go. There's me jaunty hat. It's jaunty and it's got some beat up old pheasant feathers in it.
That's a grand time.
Oh, it's a grand time indeed.
And
I
I
got to-
still can I hear you?
I got to bag me a new pheasant, however, because this pheasant's
bloody
growing
hell.
old and weary. Look at that. So there it is. Put that on one more time. How's that, Sarah? Not practical or not piratical. I've worn this as a pirate hat before. I have. Not practical or not piratical. I've worn this as a pirate hat. Love it, says Steve.
Oh,
Clark.
sure. Pirates wore hats like that.
Sure they did. I got this one. That's not a pirate hat, but it's
Oh,
I
sure.
could use
Pirates
it as
wore
a
hats
pirate
like
hat.
that.
So there's jaunty for you. A couple of
Oh, sure. Pirates wore hats like that. Chicago Pirate.
Chicago pirate. Yeah, that's right. And I got this one.
Oh, sure. Pirates wore hats like that. Chicago Pirate.
Boom. There's that one. Totally different crown on it than the first one.
Chicago Pirate.
And then I got this one. Totally different crown.
Why is that sound looping?
You're getting feedback from
Why is
There.
sound
There's that one as well. And I wear that one usually up a little bit in the front. I do that with this one. That one's made for that. So there's Professor Bauer. Let's bring him in. And Dave Potter got kicked somehow, or he kicked himself. Professor Bauer, how you doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Can you hear me okay?
I need a turkey feather, says Steve. I can hear you. You're low.
I'm low.
Yeah, you sound. Maybe it's just my sound. I don't know. No, my sound's up.
Well, I'm peaking up around -3, so should be
Maybe
coming
you're
through.
okay. Are you away from your computer desk and apparatus?
No, I'm in the middle of the computer desk and putting it back together from reconfiguring
Oh, right.
and doing a few things. I'm still trying to get it all redone, but
Yeah. You're
you know,
talking
this-
like you're on radio or something.
like I'm on radio.
Like no visual.
Oh, well, that's the other part of the reconfig. The camera still has not gotten put back in place.
Oh, yes. So
on this aging thing,
yeah,
as you said, and this is, one of the part of the great reveal that is upon us, is a lot of the shit that we've been told is just flat out wrong. And
Okay.
when you look at some of the different examples, I mean, it's becoming legendary. And I think that's actually going to be one of the things that we're going to see in the future, is to look back on this time of how all of the so many things that we thought were one way were actually something else, and in a lot of cases completely the opposite.
yeah, I
So
can see that.
the whole idea of aging, if you look at the metrics used in science and biology, they think they have found, and all of it's speculation, but they think they found genes that contribute, or that they see some kind of cyclical endurance of the DNA and the biology and everything that makes us. When you have stories, as we've talked on several shows, about how the information that I think the last time we talked about how Egyptology kind of stops around 3000 BC, but the Egyptians go back tens of thousands of years, and they just ignore that as, some kind of stories that were made up to solidify whatever societal and cultural environment they were trying to manage. So back then, these cats were living not only 1,000 or 2,000 years, they were supposedly living 10 and 20 and 30,000 years, if not more, especially when you look at the Sumerians and their mythos, right? So when you think about that, you think, well, could there be anything in the sciences, the way that we measure things and monitor and manage as a result of measuring, is there anything that could point to something that might be a cause for that? Why was there these long living periods of humans, and then it's gotten shorter and shorter? I think that for today, like you were mentioning, the whole concept of the processed nature of the fuel that we consume has been the biggest contributor for the last 150 years or so, since we started industrializing food production. But there is, among all of those metrics and all those different sciences and disciplines, there is amazing information and speculation that we can actually reverse aging. And there's a whole science, a variety of
article
different,
just last week about that.
right?
Yep.
And I think, for example, one of the substances that's come out over the last 5 or 6 years is C60, which is essentially carbon formed into basically a buckyball by Buckminster Fuller. So there's a number of different things that, as we have found out more information by taking the metrics that we have, examining them, testing them, putting different hypotheses on them, and trying to look at what we think is going on, there have been just as many, and I think even more, indicators to what anti-aging, or what I call youthing, is actually available for all of us to do. So I dropped out of the allopathic mode of medicine back in the early 80s when I went after becoming a shiatsu practitioner and learning traditional Chinese medicine and herbology and kinesiology and all of that. And I started to see that there was some empirical data that I was experiencing myself. And at the end of the day, the only thing that anybody can rely on reliably and with any degree of confidence is your own empirical reality. What is it that you are experiencing, and have you gotten enough information to try to understand it as much as possible? So I'm 65. I feel like I remember what I was like in my 40s. I'm not in shape as I was in my 40s, but I feel very confident of being able to go back to that set of frequencies.
And we
that
look at
conditioning.
pictures of ourselves back in our 40s and go, man, was I young back then.
Well,
when
yeah,
40 when we were kids was like the next best thing to 1 foot in the grave.
I'm
Now
always
we look back at
fascinated.
40 and go, wow, that was kind of young.
I
back
could
then."
shave 20 years off me by just shaving.
Oh yeah, you shave, you can take that off. But
Right,
and I
and
mean,
then-
no offense by this, it's not going to do anything for the bags under our eyes, though. I could shave too. You know, I'm
I could
close.
shave
I'm,
those
close,
off
I'm a
there.
lot closer to clean shaven than you are. If I shave this off, I'd look like I have a baby face. But I
You
still
don't have
bags
my
under
boyish
my
charm,
eyes.
though.
What?
You don't have my boyish charm.
Your
Well,
boyish charm.
it's all about the baby blues
That's what
and
it
the
is.
lips, right? What did who was it? Sam Elliott said, you know, women, you don't need a man who messes up your mascara. You need a man who messes up your lipstick.
There it is.
There
Right.
you go.
Daniel Craig said, back in my 40s, I didn't have a favorite side to sleep on because my hip hurt, which I think in being interpreted, he does now. Now I got to sleep on this side because it hurts when I sleep on that side. So is it because
Well-
we wear our sides out as we get older? They wear out on us. So
Well, for me, you know, I'm just constantly amazed at how old people my age look.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that in people too. I'm like, wow, you've gotten old. What happened to you?
Right?
Well, I think I mentioned the other night, Rainey and I, when we're talking, sometimes I go, wow, I look at these pictures of my old friends from high school and college, and I go, man, have they ever gotten old? Look at her. She looks like a little round old grandma when she was the homecoming queen. And then I look at and I go, God, I wonder what they all think of my picture. They all see me. They probably say the same thing because you don't realize as you're doing it how old you're getting. And you start aging when you start making noise when you move, said Sarah Yusuf. Yeah, there it is. That's part of
But
it.
I was looking at pictures of me from just a few years ago, and I was like, holy crap, I was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even notice it at the time. And then I look at pictures
Notice
of
it when
me
you're in
from the festival on Saturday, and I was like, oh, I look pretty good in that outfit.
Yeah, you looked a lot better now than you did a few years ago.
Yeah.
But then you showed, you showed that picture we were talking about on Sunday, was it? We were talking about the old pictures from Clantartan and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Look how young we looked in those pictures. Now,
Yeah.
I
There was no gray in my beard.
I was 35, 36 at the time, and you were, what are you? You're almost 10 years younger than me, I think, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, but there it is.
Let's see if this thing works here.
And I don't disagree with you so much, Professor, or anything like that. It's not disagreeing, or I'm not even taking a different tack than you. I just listen to that stuff and I said, well, it's all very interesting because what is the one common thread, at least that we know of, that every human has had? We all get old and die. Now, that's as far as we know, unless we start dipping back into mythology or things that we say, maybe this was real history.
How about a little
what was
Saint
the Bible
Germain,
verse?
right?
The Bible
about a
verse
little
after
Saint-
the
You know
What's that?
Saint Germain? You know
not off
the
the top of
story
my
of
head.
Saint Germain?
Not
So
off the top.
this guy was basically, the records seem to indicate he lived from somewhere in the 1600s through the late 1700s or late 1900s. So he was apparently around for about 300 years. There's all these accounts of him throughout the different fiefdoms and the different kings and queens and nobility and so forth that said they met him. He was this amazing individual. He had all this incredible knowledge about sacred geometry and alchemy. He apparently was extremely wealthy, but nobody knew where his wealth came from or where it was. But he continued. There's these records of this guy for 300 years.
If you live for 300 years, you can amass a lot of wealth.
Right?
Yeah.
And he apparently never aged. Every one of the encounters that are recorded, he looked just like the paintings of him that other people had made.
Maybe he was a time traveler. Maybe he was coming back and visiting things from an earlier time.
Well, that whole time
Or a
travel
later
thing
time.
is, you know, there's got to be going just on a little rabbit hole for that one for a second, because we've talked about it in the past. When you think about time travel, one of the things that seems to be extremely difficult. And this has come up with a lot of the talk in the woo-woo world about people being clones of someone. There's, one or two of Biden, Trump's got a couple, and all these, there's a lot of
Sure.
discourse about that kind of capability. When you think about it, cloning requires time travel, at least time manipulation, because the natural components of our biology, you can't multiply, from an egg to 42,000 times to become the full human. And then you have to age all of those genes and cells properly to accumulate the aged look of the clone. So you think about it and you go, well, that's some type of time manipulation. At least it's speeding it up for a certain set of cells and the biology that's made
Microwave
up,
incubators.
right? So
Yeah.
you go, okay. So there seems to be some capability there would need to be in order for this whole clone thing to work. But going back to time travel itself, when we talked about it before, I think the most relevant empirical information on time travel is
See you, Matthew Sainsbury.
is non-local consciousness. And that primarily has been focused, or the majority of it was on the materium in a timeline, and it was a location distance or difference. However, there's been a lot of future remote viewing or non-local consciousness that's called some pretty interesting stuff. And you look at it and you go, well, so are you looking down at a timeline? Are you able to somehow access the frequency signature of a particular place and time and bring back information about it? What is the information that you're able to see? So if there's empirical evidence of mental projection, either in the same timeline to a different place or outside of the timeline, then time, now you go, well, maybe time is a characteristic of the simulation that we are in. And if we are indeed in a simulation, which would imply intelligence and, the creation of everything to be there. But maybe there is time travel outside of the time that we experience and can comprehend.
Maybe. But how do you know that?
I don't know. I'm
falling back
putting it out
to.
there.
I'm Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. I was born in 1518 in the village of Glenfinnan on the shores of Loch Shiel, and I am immortal.
You were born in a bottle of Glenlivet. What did you say?
Yeah, I was born. What was that?
All right.
You were a test tube baby
I
because
was
you had a womb with
born
a
in a
view.
bottle of Glenlivet, and I grew up in a bottle of Glenmorangie, and yeah.
I have a lovely bottle of Belvini out in the motorhome.
I aged in a cask of Balvenie rosewood. So, yes. So yeah, there's that.
So my point is that time travel doesn't time travel or some type of time manipulation or some type of time influence. Wouldn't that be a key part of understanding and mitigating the aging process?
Maybe. I don't know for sure. See, this is like, to me, this kind of conversation is like quantum imaginings, because
Amen
we don't
to that.
really know for sure. We can we can figure out and say, this is the way this should work. By the way we put this together, it should work this way, but we don't know for sure.
Or to drop a Star Trek quote, don't talk to me about time. We haven't got the time.
We haven't got the time. Or it's like what was I just thinking of? It's gone for me, the illustration or the mode of understanding, but it's like we attribute certain things. Okay, it would be like saying, now we say, well, alien life can't visit us because we all know that you can't travel faster than the speed of light, and the closest star is 40 years away at the speed of light.
Well, that's a moronic
that's
statement
our
right there.
understanding now. What if there is a mode of transportation, of moving through the universe, through the galaxies, whatever, through space, that
Well-
we don't know about?
Well, and that's
Exactly right.
stumbled
Exactly.
That's
Just
one of
because
the biggest
we can't
points.
do it doesn't mean somebody can't do it.
Doesn't mean, it just
That's
means
right.
we haven't found it yet. And
Right.
that's one of my points of, our current model of science and physics is about to get turned over. I think
Yeah.
that the fundamental, what we're going to see going forward is what I refer to as frequency physics. So all of the physics models that we have
Daniel.
are going to
Thanks, Daniel.
all of our sciences and the physics models are going to be flopped,
Come on, shithead.
and
Sorry.
we're going to be in more of an understanding of frequency, and so that's why I call it frequency physics. But my point there is that whatever is out there right now in the scientific domains and all of the different disciplines and everything else, like everything else, is just somebody's speculation.
Right. That's it.
There are there's 10 dogmas in science that are assumed to be empirical, and every one of them just falls apart when you turn them into questions. Instead of saying, like, for example, one of the fundamentals of our science model is that all energy and matter is always the same. There is energy and matter, the amount that's there is always the same. It doesn't change. And and they still hold on to that, except that when they realized through their observations that there was a whole bunch of something missing that they couldn't account for in the models. And then you got dark matter and dark energy, which, by the way, is this invisible stuff that we haven't been able to find. It's only theoretical, but apparently it makes up over 90% of the universe that we apparently inhabit. Well, those two are juxtaposed
Howdy, Amanda.
to each other, right? So, you basically, so once they figured out that they didn't know what this was and they couldn't explain it, they came up with terms. And then it was only a matter of, well, how much of it do you need to adjust and account for the observation? And you go, well, you just titrate a little bit in, a little bit out, and you get what you need. But there is no definition of it. The Big Bang is another, the work of Paul Violette.
Heisenberg was an agnostic, by the way.
You see, Scotty, you bring
Yes.
Professor Bauer in here, and the quality of the show just takes a huge jump. We sound smarter with him here.
No, it would make the quality of the show. Yeah, we sound
I'll
smarter.
study that
next
20.
time. I said the same thing he's saying now. I just used a lot more words and I was funnier.
Well, I'm trying to.
The mathematical answer to your question earlier, Scotty, is 33.
I don't do
How
math.
old I was in that picture, because I know
okay.
how old she was, and I know what our age difference is. It's
Well,
a
that was
quantum point in my
95.
timeline that I
That
use for
picture was
reference.
taken
I had to
in
do the math,
95.
but I was 33.
That was 95 or 96, which would have made me 34, 35 in that picture.
Hello, Rowan. You just appeared there magically.
What? So I'm only 2 years older than you are?
You
I'm
talking to me?
58.
No?
Uncle Dave.
I'm 58. You're how old?
Oh, I just said you were 10 years younger than I am, and you didn't disagree. Oh, I'll take that. Just, yeah, that works. Hi, Ro. Did you survive from the super glue attack?
No.
Attack of the super glue.
Do you use super glue to glue those on?
You glued those on your finger? That's what you were using that for?
And my shoe.
Ruined.
Ro, go talk to your mom.
My nails aren't ruined. They're gonna last longer.
My 10-year-old does not need fake fingernails.
See, this is why I didn't.
Nor
tell
does she
you.
need to glue them on with super glue.
You know what?
She asked me at
It'll
the
all
beginning
pass,
of the
Scotty.
show, and I thought she was fixing something. What, Dave?
It will all pass, Scotty. She's 10.
I'm sure.
There's this
If she
really
rips-
cool.
If she rips her nails out, they'll grow back.
There's a really cool
biological
polish
thing.
I taught my daughters in when they started wanting to do that around her age, and it's called Tabasco. And
Yeah.
I just brushed some Tabasco on on their nails,
Yep.
and that was, I think it was probably about 15 or 16 before they actually painted their nails again. I was
Wow.
like, no, you're not ready for that yet.
Let's see. Amanda Berry says, Scott Allen, first of all, he says, when I'm at pool parties, I keep my shock to myself at how most people have let themselves go. And they're all looking at you and boy and saying, wow, where'd he get his six pack? But he's showing that off. Yeah,
I
they
get
would
it
too,
down
wouldn't
at
they?
Andy's down the street. It's usually in Newcastle.
Yeah. 33. I live 2112 postcode and Field of Mars, Sydney is 33. Totally lost me on that, except for the 33 at the beginning and the 33 at the end.
It's
I get
Very
that.
Masonic. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very Masonic.
There's a lot
Well,
of
it's like
symbology
saying
going
the
on there.
totally different topic, but in the first book I wrote on the Nephilim, I was talking about the UFO thing, where they say the whole book of Enoch talks about the Nephilim or the
Yeah.
Watchers descending to the earth on the slopes of Mount Armon, which is Mount Hermon in the north of Israel, which guess what? Sits on the 33rd parallel.
Yeah.
What happens when you travel to the exact opposite side of the globe on the 33rd parallel?
Could that be a pyramid?
No, exact
Oh.
opposite side of the globe is the approximate crash site for
Roswell?
Roswell. So I thought that was interesting.
There's a lot of things that happen along the 33rd and 38th parallels.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things in the grid that all match up, which I know has nothing to do with what Professor Bauer was talking about. Well, yeah, it does. It has everything to do with what he was talking about. but
Well,
in a different
yeah, I
path.
mean the number of things that are going on when you look at all of the, I mean it's all over the map. You can just pick whatever's hitting your framework and whatever filter it's bouncing off of. Every one of them has a set of metrics about them that when you look at the mathematical result of having all these metrics assigned to whatever that experience is, you can start to, this is why
Yes, she is, Sarah.
statistics is so fascinating, because you can start to see trends, and depending on the frequency set that you're looking at, you can see cycles, which we've talked about with Sarah, I think last Friday. So going back to aging is a set of cycles from what we know, right? From what we have available to us. Doctors.
No, the numbers are what we ascribe to it. We would age without numbers, wouldn't we? I don't need a number to tell me I'm getting older.
Does time pass without a clock?
But what?
Well,
does time pass without a clock?
Does time pass without a clock? Yeah. Are we aware of it? We measure it. We measure it by a clock. The same thing with age, physical age. We measure it by a numerical value.
Well, and that's my point, is that all of those measurements, when you look at them, you can look at them as a whole. You can look at them as individually. You can look at them collectively and inclusively, regardless of whatever noun you want to assign to them. But there are things that you can identify that have metrics around them that you can then do pattern recognition, analogical reference. I mean, that's because that's how we learn. We learn by patterns. We start with pattern recognition, and then we add a whole bunch of stuff around it so that we can talk about it and experience it more and even do something creative with it. But the point is that everything else outside of that experience is all somebody else's speculation. So it doesn't matter if it's in economics, even if it's in technology. The best thing that's come out of science for the most part is the technological evolution. It's got its scary points, but it's got some badass points on it too. I mean, I remember when they first came out with these refrigerators that were supposed to be smart. And I'm thinking, I want to be in the store and have my fridge contact me and say, hey, you're out of milk. You just passed the aisle. Go back and get some. It's like, that is awesome. And it's annoying And
It's
there's
also
no way
annoying at
I
the same
want
time.
that kind of communication between me and my fridge. However, it's pretty
However,
handy.
I wouldn't mind a smart bar that would like, oh laddie, a wee bottle of Glenmorangie would make me
Oh,
happy.
2 blocks
Hey,
past you.
there you go.
You walked right past the whiskey. Come on back. You know the Irish. Come on back.
Oh, bring Juan with you if you could, because you know I miss Jose.
Well,
You know the
here's
Irish
another.
boomerang, by the way. This one's for Amanda. For you too, Doc. Amanda down there in Australia, the Australian boomerang or the Irish boomerang. You throw it out, and it sings sad songs about coming back again. All right.
That's good. That's good.
Anyway,
So,
were
anyway,
we?
here's another little turd that I'll put on the table here.
Okay. Turds on the
And
table.
it relates to both time travel, the concept of time, and aging.
Okay.
If time didn't exist, then would you age?
If time did not exist, would you age? Where would you exist if you don't exist in linear time? You'd have to exist somewhere. If you didn't exist in linear time, would you age?
Only in the meat suit, because when we're outside of the meat suit, we do not live in a linear time frame.
So do souls age? There's the question. Do souls or spirits, whatever form it actually is?
Well, we refer to them as old
body
souls.
meat suit existence.
Well, I think that term "old soul," Dave, is an
Something we've given it.
anthropomorphized concept, like we do to everything, which is
Yeah.
really the only reference we have. But old in that sense, it means you've been through a bunch of them before. Now, the
But
essence
when we're
of
back
what-
in that spiritual form, we can be anywhere or any time in a thought. So
Yes.
we live in a non-linear time frame.
Yes.
So that would be outside of this three-dimensional or 3D world reality that we seem to inhabit. Now, one of the things I didn't think about until I heard it, and I thought,
Go ahead, keep talking.
and when I heard it, I didn't think about it until I heard it, which I love those kind of moments. It's like, never thought about that. The movie The Matrix, right? The Matrix series.
Yes.
Right.
Go ahead, keep talking. I'm just showing things while you're talking.
You're showing off and making me thirsty. So in the Matrix, which was this computer simulation, right?
Yes.
You
I'm listening.
bastard.
Computer simulation.
You bloody bastard, you.
Oh, I'm going to have to go out to the
Blow the
motorhome.
dust out.
In order to go into the Matrix, they had to plug in their biological body to the computer system,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew that the whole time. I've seen it, all of them, bunches of times.
Cheers.
That's a wee bit of cough medicine there.
Yeah, that's it. Oh.
So anyway,
When
It's for what
Irish
ails
eyes are shining.
No, that's Scotch.
So,
wait.
so
I think it's
anyway,
Amanda Berry and I are supposed to do a.
I'm going to interrupt.
Tilted
Have you
dance
guys
online
seen
somewhere.
that
Go ahead.
video that's going around, the guy, young 20-year-old guy or so, saying to his girlfriend, so my neighbor came and knocked at my door at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. So I put my bagpipes down and went and answered the door.
And said, "What do you need?"
that's usually a drummer.
It's 3 a.m.
What the hell do you want?
Here you go. Here you go, Dave. Here you go, Dave. My advice: take her up on it.
I'd be happy to. I was thinking about that at the
Just
show the
get
other
your
day.
butt to Australia.
I'm doing a Viking thing in September if you want to fly up here and plait my hair for that.
There you go.
What is a plate?
It's a type of braiding. it forms a square braid. It's really very cool. I used to do it when I was doing Clontartan. I plaited my hair all the time. Well, I didn't plait my hair. Susie plaited my hair for me.
Plaited beard.
I had Susie do that.
Build it real quick.
There was the romantic night that I dropped Susie off, and we were coming home from an event. I'm still in kit, and I pulled my dagger out, and I grabbed one of my war braids and went to snick it off. And the plate I didn't realize was so strong. It's cut about halfway. And then I went, oh, hold on. And I'm sitting there. Went from a very romantic thing to a very bizarre thing. But I cut off my braid and gave it to her.
Let me cut off my braid for you.
Yeah, I thought this was a sharp knife.
That does remind me of a Alfred Noyes poem, the Highwayman, where the highwayman came knocking up on the old inn door, where his lover, where Bess, the landlord's daughter, the landlord's black-haired daughter, plaited a long red love knot into her long black hair, something like that. So plaited. That's what it makes me think of. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Bauer. We got you way off track for no reason at all.
Well,
in romance. What more could you want?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a real nice sapiosexual transition that went on there.
Yes. Here, cheers. Here's to you, lad.
It's green.
Well, what is it? It's green.
It's green and it's good.
Which I love that they replayed. They replayed in Next Generation with another scene where he's like, I don't know what it is, but it's green.
I do not know what. Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
And Picard knows what it is. Picard goes, oh, well, that's such and such. Guinan keeps it behind the bar. It's very rare.
I like the where he, in the original Star Trek, where Scotty drinks the alien under the table.
Yeah.
He engages him in a wee drinking game. And at the end, he's got a little bit left. He goes, oh, it was you and me, my darling. We did it. But then he passes.
And about 4 steps later, he's face down on the ground, on the deck.
Yeah.
So speaking of Star Trek.
Me too, Daniel Craig, by the way.
What's your guys' opinion of the 3 Star Trek movies with Chris Pine?
I like them, actually.
I do.
I thought all those guys did an excellent job of capturing the essence of those characters.
I hated what they did to the timeline. No matter what, I hate them messing with the. We can do whatever we want now because we're going to just change the timeline. I didn't like that. That to me is creative buffoonery. When you're entering into something that's got a Bible of its own content for 50 years, you don't go in and say, well, let's just change that. We'll just change the time stream.
I'm gonna rewrite the Bible. This time Jesus is a gladiator that
yes. He was a gladiator that fell out of favor. And
so what about Cumberbund? What's his or Cumberbatch?
Cumberbatch
as Khan.
It was interesting. He was no Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah, I would have rather seen Antonio Banderas do that.
I think Antonio Banderas could have done a great Khan.
Yeah.
Let's see. Amanda Berry's saying a lot of things there. I just wonder if there was anything I need to. I'll just put this up. Back to, by the way, Chris Pine, J.J. Abrams, the first very cool retake of Star Trek. What he did.
I've never wanted to be in Australia more than I have right now. But
they had never recast the original crew before. He did that. And other than, well, if you take Vic Mignogna, who did Star Trek Continues, a fan film series, fabulous, out of this fucking world. If you haven't seen it, Star Trek Continues. Go look it up on YouTube. Go look up StarTrekContinues.com. He did a fantastic job with that. But other than that, is on a fan film base,
casting Chris Pine as Kirk was pretty darn good. He did a good job.
Yep.
Casting Quinto as Spock was a coup.
Yeah.
I had heard that Leonard Nimoy actually approved that. He kind of handpicked him, and he did a fantastic Spock.
Yes, he did.
Now,
Who's the guy that played Bones? Carl.
I can't think of the actor's name.
Carl
but he is
Urban.
yes, Carl
Carl
Urban.
Urban
He's
was
done some
fantastic.
amazing things.
I loved him as Bones.
Yes.
And I want to see them do another Trek with those guys.
Well, apparently they're all signed.
rocky.
They're all signed.
Oh,
The
they're
only
all
problem
signed
is
now.
Carl Urban is working on a series right now, and they're just trying to work
Bad
around
Boys.
his schedule.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Carl Urban, by the way, voiced that. I know we've lapsed from old age and quantum talk to cartoons and Star Trek, but
That was my fault. I own it.
He voiced the main character in that animated film, the Sea Beasts, that I put up on my Facebook. Dave, I don't know if you saw the little preview I put up.
Yeah.
Where I said, if you're into high seas adventure, the first 15 solid. I looked at the clock when the first scene was over, and 15 minutes and 13 seconds had passed. I said, "Wow, that was crazy." They did being out to sea and like harpooning a whale, except it was sea beasts. It was amazing what they did with that in animation. But Carl Urban did the main character in that.
You remember? I think were a couple of Bruce Willis's best movies, the Red series, Red and Red
Yes,
2, I think.
Yeah,
because Urban was in one. He was in the first one, I think.
And so was my favorite old lady in the movies now, who used to be really hot. She was in Caligula with Malcolm McDowell. She was in all kinds of things you've seen her in. God, what's her name?
Who?
She's not like a grande dame in the movies. A British
Helen
woman.
Mirren?
Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
Fabulously gorgeous woman at 76, whatever she is now.
No, she was great in Red. Both of them.
Yeah, in Red, she was good. So,
all right. So back to aging and frequency physics. You can change the state of your DNA. You can change the energetic fields within your body that are naturally there. You can enhance them, balance them, maintain them.
There's a genetic marker they can turn on to cause regeneration and youthifying.
that series is now 30 years old, Amanda. Let that sink in.
Rife, his technology, some of the stuff that Nassim Harriman is doing, Rupert Sheldrake and the concept of morphogenic resonance. These are all leading to a different view and understanding of the reality that we inhabit. And at a micro level, there's all kinds of little experiments and empirical pieces of data that show that if you look for these things and then focus on them, a simple example would be having pH water that is more alkaline rather than acidic. Okay. Alkaline is essentially the electrical attachment that allows all of our stuff to function and be what it is. Because of water, we're 70+% water, breathing more nitrogen than we actually do oxygen.
Well, some of us are 70% water.
Yeah, well, some of us have accoutrements that can make it even
Some
more
of us
balanced.
are 70% something else.
Rum.
Yeah. Lagavulin. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, yes. I'm just saying frequencies like that
Yes.
can make a difference in the frequencies under your hat.
Yes.
And Scotty, like they say, and I'll finish with this, like they say in archaeology, right? We're just one spade turn away from finding something that changes everything.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of archaeological finds that change everything. I was watching Sir
Baldric from Blackadder. Why is his
Oh,
name slipping from my mind?
Tony.
Tony Robinson.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, watching one of his old Time Team shows, where that's all they did. They spent 20
Excellent
years
show.
on this series,
Love that show.
going around, and they'd have 3 days. If you've never seen it, Professor Bauer, 3 days at an archaeological site in Britain, someplace in Britain. It was usually something Roman connected to it, and they'd spend 3 days.
What was the
trying
name
to-
of the series again?
It's called Time Team.
Time Team.
Yes, I have seen that. Yes,
Tony Robinson. Fantastic series.
excellent.
And
They
was
did
just
a lot
watching
of
something-
recreations and
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Well,
really
not a
got
lot.
into
They
the
did
subject.
some recreation, but just the other day, and I'm trying to think of what it was that they found. He says, what we have found here in the last 2.5 days has redefined our understanding of Roman history in Britain. From one find they found.
Yeah.
It's totally redefined, because I don't remember what the exact thing was. I was half asleep. I had it just on while I was sleeping. But
I drive to those all the time. The full series is on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I
watch it on
will pick
YouTube.
an episode and have that playing while I drive.
yes. Oh, there you go. Yeah, because you don't necessarily need to watch it.
No,
You can listen to it and get just as much
I
information.
mean, the screen is on the dashboard and I can glance at it occasionally, but really it's an archaeological discussion. So
It is.
you don't really, it's
It's nice seeing it and seeing what they're
Yeah.
doing. But now another, and I've mentioned this before, but for both of you guys and everybody listening, Tony Robinson has done some other series since that. That one ended in, I think, 2015.
I was going to say 17. I think it was
Something
17
like
they did
that.
their last
But
episode.
he's done a couple of other series. He did Walking the Old Paths of Great Britain.
Yep.
And he finds these old roads, like the old Roman roads, and finds them on the map and where they went, and he'll walk them through the course of a couple of days.
Or
In an episode.
he did another series where he picked a historical thing like Arthur. He
Yes.
did another one on Robin Hood. Went
Robin
to the
Hood.
and just looked at all the legends and what was real and what was fantasy. When did this story come in, and who can they tie this to, and who was the real Robin, or who was the real Arthur, and so on and so forth. Very interesting series.
Hey, Private Brown, by the way, good to see you. The Soldier of War. I like that. Cool.
so
For a
one of
while,
the,
he did Meet the Ancestors too, and that was always interesting. So they did.
yeah, that
they'd
was
be like,
pretty good.
Yeah.
the Bronsons here are doing a new car park in their backyard in the garden, and they've
Yes.
unearthed a skeleton. And they go in
Yeah,
and they
I
would
always like that.
go into who this skeleton was. They'd take it down to a lab, and they would do
Run
all
DNA
kinds of
tests, they
information
do all
on
the
it.
kind of testing
They
could on it.
check the teeth to try and figure out where it was from and what foods and things it had eaten. There's all kinds of stuff that they can do now genetically with in the lab. And then they would do a reconstruction of the face
Yeah.
Yes.
and such. And so you'd get a photograph, and they'd sit down then at the end and say, okay, well, this man lived in this time period and he lived on these foods. So we think he originally grew up over near the coast and then migrated to here. And they just have all this background information from a
Yeah.
skeleton. It was always amazing.
Who was the guy in the Cumberbatch? I think that was Star Trek Beyond. I think.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that played the Admiral Peter?
Weller?
Peter
He
Weller.
was
yes.
RoboCop back in the
Yes.
day.
Yeah.
So Peter
In the
Weller,
80s or something.
along the lines of what you guys are talking about, did a series on history. I think it was history, it might have been Discovery, called Engineering an Empire.
Yes. That's
And-
also an excellent series.
It was excellent. I mean,
Is
I don't
that
know
the
how
one
much
from
of it
the
was
that I saw him
accurate,
in?
but the amount of data they presented
Yeah.
was quite
I
fascinating.
really love that show.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So, yeah, guys, if you want to, the thing about archaeology is some people who are not into it, their eyes glaze over. Oh, archaeology. It's like a science kind of thing, right? A science with digging in the dirt. Yeah. But I've seen some really interesting shows. Tony Robinson has been at the fore of a lot of those.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, by the way, Tony Robinson on Time Team went to John and Maria's site at Gebel El Silsila.
Not Time
he went.
Team. He went for the new. He's doing a thing with a National Geographic. Wasn't
Oh,
Time Team.
okay. I thought it was an extension of his Time Team show.
No. It's a new show.
So,
But
yeah, and that
but
would have been
yes,
since Time Team
and
went
John
off.
almost drowned him.
That's right. John,
They
they
were
had found a shaft at Gebel El Silsila. There were, when I was there in 2013, we were walking on the west or the east bank of the Nile in all their quarries. And John said, "Now look at this area, Scotty." As we walked through, and there were these holes and down at foot level. And he said, just get down and take a look in there, and you can look in, and it's filled with sand from the river, the inundation or the flooding that would happen and so on. And he says, "I want to get in there." He says, "and clear that all out. I highly suspect there's more to this." And there were all these mounds in the dirt in the dune there that looked like there's got to be something.
Maria called the rubble pile. It's
the rubble pile.
Your
and,
rubble pile.
The waste pile. And so they started excavating that 3-4 years ago. And they found a whole necropolis there. They've cleared it all out. That one hole that was about this big that you could crawl down and look through like a basement egress window kind of. They cleared that. That's a whole doorway. And you could step down a couple of steps into a chamber, which was a burial chamber. And it's not pharaonic burial, but it's nobles. It's the people who ran things at the quarry sites there. And they found this whole necropolis, and there was one where there was a shaft that dropped down about 30 feet, and where you get to the bottom, and then you go horizontally, and there were archways that you would walk through that were over your head. I mean, 7-foot archways, and you'd walk through to the next chamber and the next, and so on. And it was all filled with silt, all filled. It had been flooded, and they had to keep draining it because the Nile waters, it wasn't on the bank, but they would seep in underground, and it would keep filling that up with water. So they would fill that all up, and they kept finding things, and there were inscriptions all over, relief painting, and they found bones and all kinds of things in there. And then while Tony Robinson is down there, they're in the second chamber in, and the water started coming in. The pump broke. The water's coming in, and they had to get out of there, underneath that archway so they could get back to the ladders and get out. And Tony was joking about how he's trying to drown me. And but Tony actually found with John a big urn of some kind that was laying on its side. It was intact in the mud down there for thousands of years. And they hold it. He called it that's my urn. It's my whatever not an urn, the other thing, but so
have you seen those pictures of that stuff? Have you seen the pictures that I think it's just north of the pyramids? Can't think of the name of it, but there's just this flat plateau, and then they uncovered these stairs that go straight down underneath, down into the plateau, and it fills with water. There's no. It looks like the pictures I've seen. I mean, it looks like there's probably 400 or 500 steps, and it goes straight down into the plateau, and there's nothing around where they dug this out. You just go down into the sandstone. It's like, and they can't get into it, or they say they can't
drain it long enough to do anything with it.
But they have no idea what it's tied to. There's no markings. There's no nothing. There's just this stairwell that goes down for, seriously, I think it goes down over 120 feet. And it's just these steps of stone that go down and then into this, the sandstone and apparently water.
He didn't get to take it home, Sarah. He just called it his. So,
I mean, there's all kind. I think we're going to keep finding, especially with the.
We're going to keep finding stuff.
The imaging that they're doing in Central America right now. I think that's
it's amazing what we can find from space now, as far as the archaeological sites.
Exactly.
Some of these other cities where the pyramids are, they're finding they were vast. What's the word I'm looking for?
They have
metro areas.
They have found over 60,000 buildings.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
some
they
of
need to
them
open the
are
tomb of the
huge.
first emperor of China, says Ryan Gale.
Yeah.
Be the greatest discovery in history. Yeah,
Genghis Khan's tomb would be interesting to find.
that would be. By the way, I showed this when I was talking with Niall the other night. I think it was Wednesday night or Thursday night last week. We were talking a little bit about the Ark of the Covenant, and I have this that I purchased over in Egypt, just a trinket. Spent a few bucks on it, and that's all. And it's supposed to be, you know, an Egyptian version of what a bark shrine looked like, one of the Egyptian shrines, or the Ark of the Covenant, if you will.
So it's very close in my opinion, but the four wings should be open more so that it's like a throne. You could sit on it, and the one wings form
Very
the back,
possible.
and the other wings form.
Well, it said that it was called the mercy seat. This was supposed to be where God sat in the Ark of the Covenant. So, but I've got inside this is where I keep some very
Blunt?
special little
That your
things
blunt?
from Egypt. It's where my blunts, man. No, I've got these little bottles like this that are filled with
Smelling
sand from the tomb of Senenmut, that guy back there. This is stuff from his tomb, and I've got these that I still keep. I've got some Egyptian coins in here and stuff, but I've got 4 bottles of this stuff. We used to give these away for special things on the radio show years ago. When I first got, I got little things that, like, John got me this. He says, "Don't tell anybody, but that's from the shrine of Senenmut at Gebel El Sulsul." And he didn't mean don't tell anybody. I took home a whole big gallon baggy Ziploc bag of sand from the tomb of Senenmut, so I'm not too worried about that. I don't think they care about sand and rocks. So
Crazy white person stealing our sand.
yeah. So that's what I keep in that little thing right there. That sits up on the shelf. So,
Typical American.
Stealing Egypt one bag
Typical
at a
American.
time.
Typical Americans.
Well, you know,
Always overdressed for the wrong occasions.
the whole idea to
What shall we talk about?
the whole idea to really make sure that it's not, what's that saying? It's not the life in your years, it's the number of years in your life, it's the life in them. Life in the years, right?
It ain't the years, honey, it's the mileage.
Mileage, yeah.
I mean, we all go through whatever the cycles are, and the best we can do is try to positively and successfully navigate those cycles as they unfold. And you can either pay attention to the fact that they're there and decide how much energy and effort you want to put into them, or you can just ignore it and say, screw it, the couch, the beer, and the clicker is working hard for me, because it's real easy to get there, right? It's real easy to go there.
Exactly. Well, guys, we got about 2 minutes left, and we're out of here for the night.
Sweet.
Even though it's the captain's cabin, but it is a Monday night, not a Friday. So,
well, I wasn't going to stop in until I started hearing you complaining about old age and sounds and creaks and things go slower than they used to, and I can't do as much, or I can do as much, it's just a lot slower with a lot more pain. And I said, you know what, Scotty sounds like he needs some cheering up.
There you go. Absolutely. We need a fire in the fireplace and some good port and a good pipe and some conversation.
Oh my God, pipe. Okay, I got to tell you this quick story. So I'm in the pipe shop out at the Renaissance Festival last Saturday, and this 20-something comes up to buy a pipe. I'm waiting to pick up some tobacco, and she's cashing out, and they're doing the money exchange stuff. And he puts the pipe down, and he gets a little box of matches out and sets it with the pipe, because that's what you do at a pipe store. You get a box of matches. She looks at him. She opens up this little box, and she goes, "A box of sticks?" and I look at her, and I look at him, and he and I look at each other, and we're like registering. She doesn't know what matches are. She's too young. She's probably never had anything but a lighter. And he goes, "They're matches? What do they match? What do they match?
What do they match with?"
And we looked at each other again, and it was just like, okay.
That's like that reminds me of doing the regiment, our 42nd Royal Highlanders regiment. We were doing an event out at not Boonesboro, the Daniel Boone homestead. And we were doing military maneuvers out there for the public. And I'm in my tent and I'm looking for something. I come out and I go, does anybody have a match? And Laura Locken happened to be walking by. Dave knows her. I go, anybody have a match? She goes, yeah, my ass in your face. And I went, walked into that one. So,
Ba-dum-bum.
I was in the store the other
Scotty,
day.
That wasn't true because your face isn't as pretty as her ass. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I didn't need you to tell me that. I could just make you go away real quick here.
Hey, I was in the store the other day, and the total was I was checking out, and she goes $25.25, and all of a sudden I said, "If woman can survive, if man can survive, we'll know."
Very nice,
right? And I looked around, and everybody was like, "Huh?
What?"
So yeah.
Lewis used to have a great ass line. Every time he saw Kristen, he would say, "Kristen, she's got an ass like an onion. Makes me want to cry."
What? Amanda Berry says red port seems rather left thing to do. No. Lefties can corrupt good alcohol. I agree, but
nothing wrong with a good port.
Nothing wrong with a good tawny. I like me a good tawny port. So, all right, guys. Guess what? I'm gonna look.
Amanda, if you ever come to Minnesota,
Rainey just send me here? Rainey sent me cannabis, marijuana, nutrition, neon facts, 20-ounce skinny tumbler. What? Oh, never mind. It's something she wants put on a tumbler. It's cannabis nutritional facts. She wants to have me put that on a tumbler. One of these, So,
well, I tell you what,
right.
there's a lot of nutrition in there, and it's something that everybody needs to at least see what part of it works for them, because CBD is like the thing right now, and there's more there's more there than just what we're getting. But I'll tell you what, the devil's lettuce. Yeah, I put them in all my salads.
Lettuce.
There was something we were thinking about doing. I can't remember. We'll just continue talking.
There it is.
All right, gentlemen.
Yes, for sure, Amanda. Professor, good to see you, as always.
Same to you, my friends.
We'll see you later, brother.
Cheers.
All right.
Good night. See you, lads.
See you, lads. See you, Uncle Dave.
Good night, Amanda. Here, wherever you is.
Wherever you is. All right, guys. That's it for now. We got to get out of here because we got other things to do. It's almost midnight here. Well, no, it's almost 11 o'clock. So all of you, thanks for being here. Live long and prosper.